Whoo-hoo! I'm having tons of fun. Hope you're learning a lot. Let's just go back to where we started. Remember we said it only exists on 2 data types, this indexOf method. The first data type we've looked at is arrays. What do you think the second data type is? Well, it is, drumroll please, strings. So this one slide you're looking at here is a very important one. Gives you a very high level overview of this indexOf method. We've looked at a ton of examples with arrays. I want to finish off this lecture now by looking at examples with us working with strings. Let's start seeing how that works. It's going to be a lot of fun, trust me. Hey, wow, okay, this is really cool. We've just done arrays, but now I want us to get onto strings. How does that work? And it's really exciting, you'll see now. So let's jump into it. Whew, okay, where do we start? Oh, the first thing I want to show you here is if we go to our console, remember we console'd the array. Let's just actually clear our console and let's do the same with a string. Pretty straightforward. We open the string, we look at its prototype, we scroll down, and there, my dear students, is indexOf. This is the second data type in JavaScript that gives us access to this awesome, useful method. So there you go. I just wanted to prove to you that it is found on this data type as well. If we go back to our coding editor, let's start looking at this in action. So let's delete our arrays here. We've looked at arrays. Let's now create, I don't know, a sentence. And let's just say, hello, world, the universe, don't know what's wrong with my typing today, welcomes you. So there's our sentence. We know this is of type string. How do we know that? Well, it's console log type of sentence. Okay, it's pretty obvious, but we know it's a string. And because we know it's a string, we know we have access to this indexOf method. So let's define a variable called n. Let's access our sentence. And let's search for something. Let's search for the word welcomes. Let's see if that's in here. Where do you think that would be? Let's console log in out to the screen and we get a number 26. Why 26? Well, let's start counting together. We know this is index 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And of course, 26 is where welcomes begins. So, very, very useful method. Let's define a constant called, I don't know, sentence again. And let's just say here, are you learning a lot in this course? I hope so. Keep learning. Okay, so let's start using this indexOf. Let's start getting a more intuitive feel. So let's define a new JavaScript variable called search word. This is what we want to search for. And let's say we want to search for the word learning. You can see firstly, straight off the bat, we have 2 words, don't we? Learning and learning. So just bear that in mind. So let's define a new variable called first time. And let's access our sentence constant. Let's access this indexOf method. And let's search for the search word. Let's console log this first time out. It's 8, and we know it's 8 because it's the 8th character from the very beginning. Is this first learning word. But now, how do we access the second learning word? How would we do that? Well, let me give you a clue. Let's utilize the second argument in the indexOf method. So all we have to do is let's define a new variable called second time. Let's access our sentence. I've just realized I spelled this incorrectly. Sentence. So there we go. Let's access indexOf. What we want to do now is we want to search for our search word, don't we? This time we want to utilize the starting point. And where do we want to start? Well, let's start after it's found that first item, which is the first time plus 1. So now we know it's going to search through our array, but only starting after we've passed the first learning word. Whew, hope it's making sense. If we console log this out, we get to 44, which is exactly what we'd expect. Using indexOf this way can be very useful in your code, and you can do a lot of things with it. I don't know, let's give you an example. Let's define a variable called solution1. Let's use template literals, and let's say the index of the first. Okay, and we'll use here the variable search word from the beginning is, and then we'll go first time. And if we return this to the screen, we literally get console log to us. The index of the first learning word from the beginning is 8. How awesome is this? We're combining a lot of things here. We're combining template literals. We're combining the $sign curly braces to incorporate expressions and variables within our template literal. It's very, very cool, and it's going to help you a lot along the way. Of course, we can do the same for solution 2. Solution 2. Why don't we just copy this instead of doing it all again? And we know this is the second. Search word from the beginning is not first time, but it's second time. And if we return that, we get exactly the same thing, but now we are referencing the second learning word. Whew, okay. Sorry, I know sometimes I get carried away and I'm maybe going a bit more advanced than you need to know right now, but trust me, this will help you in your coding career. And I want you to become a master at all this stuff. I hope it's starting to make sense. The other thing I want to show you is, let's delete everything. I want to show you that indexOf is case sensitive. So what I mean, well, if we have a word and let's say the word is red dog, if we now console log and we access our word string, we access the indexOf method and we search for dog, we know that it exists, okay, and this would make sense. But what about if we did the same, but here we wanted to look for the word red? As you can see, it's case sensitive. We returned -1, aka it does not exist. If we change the small r to a big R, it does exist. It's in fact the very first item in our array. Whew, I hope you're learning a ton. The last thing I want to get across is that 0 does not evaluate to true and -1 doesn't evaluate to false. Remember, if we've got a small r, it's a -1. This doesn't coerce to false. It's kind of a weird nuance when it comes to this method. So how do I prove this to you? Well, let me prove it to you by using JavaScript's if statement. And what I want to compare here is I want to say if the word, right, contains, let's say, red, if that evaluates to false, then let's execute this code. Let's say console log. This is the correct answer. Else console log. This is the wrong answer. And now you'll see a problem. You'll see that because of Quokka, what is returned to us is the wrong answer. We know that the small r should not exist in our string because it only has the capital R, red. So why are we hitting the second console log in our if statement? The reason is that the -1 does not evaluate to false. So therefore, we are hitting this answer, and it's the wrong answer. Therefore, the point I'm trying to make is that when checking if a specific string exists within another string, the correct way is to use -1. For example, if you replace false with -1, why is this not working? -1. There we go. We get the correct answer this time. Very, very important point I've just shared with you. Please keep that in mind. So there you have it. We've just used indexOf with arrays. We've just used it with strings. We've discussed various ways you can use it. We know that it's case sensitive. We know that you can't kind of coerce that -1 to false. And these are pretty advanced topics. So don't take it for granted. Celebrate these small wins. But anyway, let's move on and I'll see you in the next lecture.